So let me say a little bit about why the idea of a universal micropayment system is entirely different from the various things you hear about today, and why it's better, and why we will have to somehow claw our way back to having it. Right now, we have this notion that you get a file and you copy it. Now, this is a really bad idea. Let me just explain a couple of reasons why it's a crappy idea. Just to start with, it's the most wasteful and anti-green, carbon-spewing, lousy idea that there is. We tend to think that the internet is this sort of free thing that has almost no effect on the world, but if it was all in one place, it would be this giant factory that would take up like a whole state or something. It's just that it's spread out. So just one protocol, BitTorrent, apparently covers more than half the bandwidth on the internet, and it's basically just people pirating movies. So basically what you're doing is you're making the whole thing many times larger than it needs to be, just so people don't have to pay for content. But the true cost of that is astounding. It's the most inefficient, grossly negligent design imaginable. So that's one big problem. There's some other ways in which it's quite an anti-green thing, which I'll get to in a second. So it's just ethically appalling on that level, totally aside from what you think of file sharing. In Ted's original idea for the web, there'd be only one logical copy of each file. There'd be no copying. That's not a weird idea. That's how things work on iTunes and YouTube. There's one logical copy of the thing. Of course, there are local caches of it, so it'll appear quickly, and there's a backup so that it won't get lost forever if there's a fire or something. But aside from that, there's basically, as far as you're concerned, there's one copy. And the reason those things are built that way is just because otherwise it would be insanely expensive. All right, now, if there's one copy, then instead of having digital rights management where you sort of buy a copy but you don't really have the freedom to do what you want with it, or any of these other cockamamie schemes that don't work, you just pay to access the thing, a little tiny amount. One of the arguments that's made against micropayments in general is that it costs money to manage a micropayment system. But you know what? It costs money to manage a society. You know, it costs money to print money. It costs money to have, I don't know, fire guys and and the street pay. I mean, having a society costs money, so you just pay for it, you know. And it sure would be cheaper than having the internet be multiple times larger than it needs to be. I mean, there's just no way it would be more expensive than what we're doing in true cost. So, and it wouldn't have any differential effect on competitors. So it would have no impact on people's experience at all. So I just can't see the cost argument to me. Just makes no sense whatsoever.